Hello, this is Bill Sefcik with Stan Mitchell Enterprises. I'd like to start talking a little bit about some of the peripheral things that take place in the shop environment and might play with your head a little bit. But I want you to understand that these are not your concerns. Your concern is to be sure that your relationship with your employer is strategically set for you to win, and for him to win, and for the customer to win. I think a win-win-win situation is what you're after, and you can't ask for much more than that. One of the things that may come into your day is labor rate issues. Maybe someone feels uncomfortable with the fact that they only get X amount of dollars per labor hour, so they can only pay you X amount of dollars per labor hour based on that. What I want you to understand is make the best deal you can, the best arrangement that you can with your employer to assure that money is not an issue for you, especially coming from the labor rate area. What I mean by that is you need to understand why labor rates are what they are. They were never intended to be a blanket statement for every shop in every area that works on vehicles. In the collision repair business, only get paid X amount of dollars per hour. The intention years ago was that there were so many estimates being written by insurance companies that would go to all the different variety of collision repair facilities in a market area, and the insurance companies really, I'll call it innocently at that point, needed to know what kind of labor rate, what labor rate dollar amount or threshold would kind of get people past that point in almost any shop in a market area. So nobody wanted to get hung up on that. They figured let's talk about the items on the repair estimate and be sure that a larger percentage of the facilities would accept a written dollar labor rate until possibly the job was contracted and the insurance company needed to go out to the repair facility to talk to them about the entire repair. Then if there was a need, the labor rate would be adjusted. Believe it or not, at that time, there was a separate labor rate for Cadillac repair. I don't know why. It was sheet metal. However, there was a separation of a Buick, Chevy, Ford, Chrysler, and a Cadillac for some reason. Well, that's all behind us now. And what we did is State Farm was the lead company that started doing a rate survey. And what they said was, hey, what will you do State Farm work for, considering that we require this and you should have these tools and this equipment and provide this type of service to a customer, and with that, what do you think you need in return per hour for that? Along with that was material charge. What do you think a formula would be that would provide you an adequate amount of money to take care of the paint and material used at that time per labor rate refinish hour? So there was a survey that went out asking these questions, and the basic idea was at that time many insurance companies and State Farm were writing estimates in a service center. In a service center, we're not talking to a repair facility. We don't have any idea where that insured might take their car. So the idea was to be able to write an adequate dollar amount per labor hour that would at least get the attention of the shop and not have them get caught up in it. So we did that. So the whole insurance industry did that. And at that time, the collision repair industry wasn't so bothered because they knew when the shop was visited by the insurance company, if their labor rate was higher and there was some conversation about it, that labor rate would be adjusted at the facility at the time of the meeting over the repair of that particular vehicle. So there was really no issue. Somehow it got out of line and somebody started saying, well, why are you charging X amount of dollars when someone down the street is only charging this amount of dollars? And it kept kind of evolving from there, and there kept being a little bit of bitterness. And then some of the insurance companies would say, or the representatives would say, well, so-and-so and 5 of the other shops I go to only charge X amount of dollars, and you're asking for this amount, which is really a little bit higher than what we normally pay in a market area or in this market area that I work in. Somehow that conversation was taking place, and somehow you in the collision repair industry, those that employ you at this point as a quality-minded collision repair technician, failed to see what was coming with that, and maybe some conceded to a lower labor rate than they actually required and actually charged their customers if a customer was to pay. So somehow that evolved into a labor rate setting that was accepted in a market area that really was not an example or a good example of what was actually happening. And then all of a sudden it took over, and then the insurance company said, well, why would I want to pay more if I don't have to? And the body shop said, well, if they're going to send it to another shop because my labor rate's a little higher, well, I guess I can concede on that. And some of those backroom conversations took place, and some of them were very innocent, and some of them were maybe, depending on the personalities of the folks talking, were maybe a little more controversial than that. But in today's world, it has evolved to the point where there is a labor rate in a market area, and people have gotten away from what the original reasoning was to create a labor rate and do a labor rate survey so that estimates could be written in unknown market areas and shops that folks would accept 90% of the time. Until the insurance company came to the shop, of course, and then there was to be conversation about the rate at that time. So the two industries started working on that, and I think the collision repair industry just kind of accepted it, and the insurance company, of course, pushed it because now they had data that showed them that a larger percent of the facilities were working at possibly a lower rate than the minority was, and let's take advantage of that. Let's kind of leverage that. They did. The collision repair industry kind of succumbed to that, and we have what we have today. So there's a lot more to that, but if you ever want to talk about that, please contact me and we can have a conversation on it. However, today, as a quality-minded collision repair technician, you can't really be concerned about what the shop management receives as a dollar per hour rate. You need to be concerned about what you receive as your compensation for the tool to task operations you perform. It is up to the repair facility management to secure the proper amount to pay you accordingly, to secure the fact that you are going to spend 110% of your effort in demonstrating the highest quality skills you can. So what I want to encourage you to do is, if you hear that, stay away from that conversation. It really doesn't concern you. It concerns your management. It concerns your ownership. They need to understand why the rate was developed and understand how it was intended to be applied, and maybe come at it from there and hopefully work on an understanding and a compensation and reimbursement that helps them along with you and doesn't hold them back from either tooling, supplying equipment, supplying the highest technology and the highest state-of-the-art equipment and materials, and also paying you accordingly without stating that anything that surrounds the labor rate has anything to do with how I equip my facility or how I pay you as the quality-minded collision repair technician. That should be something that is not a concern of yours. So in that, I just want you to understand that sometimes becomes an issue because it's presented to you in a manner that, as a collision repair owner, might consider compromising that. It should not compromise what they pay you. So, gentlemen and ladies, I just want you to keep that out of your mindset when you apply your tool-to-task skills. That should not be a driver of the attention you pay and the demonstration of the highest quality skill placement that you can put on any type of repair that you're doing, any type of task that you're completing to complete the quality repairs on a customer's vehicle. Keep that away from it. Have conversations with your employers if you feel you need to, but keep that out of your considerations for how you apply your work. Thank you. And if you have any questions, once again, this is Bill Sefcik with Stan Mitchell Enterprises. Contact me at bill@stan-mitchell.com with any questions, concerns, or any clarification you would like on this message. Thank you.